This is for Lindsay and Patrick. Of course, at times like this, the bride's father is always proud. I got to join those two crying. But I assure you, none has ever been prouder than I am today. Of course, with Lindsay, it's always been so easy. Well, mostly. From going into kindergarten, already able to read and write. And to this day, she has track records hanging on the walls of her middle and high schools. Dozens of varsity track letters, skilled in many dances, which she started at the ripe old age of about 5 or 6, doing Irish step dancing up in New England. And a requested model in the Kansas City market who did many of the Casey fashion shows down there. Patrick, you have done very, very good, my son. A little story. We knew months, and literally months, I am not pulling your leg, before Lindsay that she was going to marry Patrick. True story. This day and age, today, Patrick came and asked for our permission to marry Lindsay. And that just blew us both away. We knew that Patrick was a great, fine young man in many, many ways. But this day and age, having a future son-in-law come and ask for the hand in marriage of parents was just such an emotional experience for us. So anyway, we knew that you were getting married before you did, sweetheart. And working so hard to become a medical doctor. Wow, how impressive. Lindsay, you have done good. Congratulations to both of you. Enjoy your life together, and God bless you both and this whole gathering tonight. Thank you.
If you can't tell, I am from Alabama. Been asked a couple times, actually already on this trip. Me and Patrick have gone back from the time that he was born. I was already here. So I should say he's been following in my footsteps ever since. But that would be a bit hard. 2 years ago, I got married in the spring. Patrick stepped up and he gave a speech at my wedding that there's no way I could top. But I'm going to go through some of the same things he said. You know, if, for instance, when you're playing Monopoly, if you're not losing a friend, you're not playing correctly. That's the way that we approach life. We played football, basketball, you name it. Any time that I would come to Florida or he would come to Alabama, we would set up a game and play together. But we're going to take it back a little bit further. So our parents owned this little clothing store. And my dad actually owned a shop that was very close. So we're hanging out as we do every day after school. And we're out behind this place that I think at the time was called Jeep Connection or Off-Road Connection. And we meet this kid. And he's eating rocks. He's literally putting rocks in his mouth and swallowing. And to this day, it's one of the oldest stories that I have with Patrick. I don't know if it's that good, but it's an old one. So when I sit next to him, the memories are flooding through. Because when I was about middle school, my best friend moved to Daytona. So that was tough. Very tough. A lot of people dislike video games. It kept us closer than I probably could ever imagine. It's like our talking on the phone. But when we played sports, I never told Patrick this, I like to keep a competitive edge. He was always a little faster than me. He was always the better man. Video games, you name it, sports, he was there. If I needed something, he was there. I took a job traveling after college. Sorry. And I would drive for hours, and I could call Patrick and talk to him, and he was there every time. So one day, I get to my grandparents' house, and I'm there to see Patrick. He's in town. He's got a new girl. Her name is Lindsay. I walk in the door, say a couple words, maybe, hey, how are you doing? She goes, you have an accent. I was like, yes, I know. My traveling job, I hit 39 states, and I think I got that every state I went to. It's funny, I don't think of my accent as that thick. But that was my first meeting with Lindsay. She's strong-willed. I'm strong-willed. We've had some, maybe even what we call arguments. But I have a lot of respect for her because she stands by her word. She's great for Patrick. Patrick told me all kinds of stories throughout the years. They've been dating, a couple of years now, since 2014? So 3 years. Okay, excellent, 3 years. Very early on, I heard about Patrick and Lindsay. They met at the beach, and she's from Missouri. I'm like, dude, that's never going to work out. What are you thinking? She's forever away. I don't know how this is going to work. Patrick is getting used to traveling, as you know. He's becoming a doctor very soon in Indianapolis. So he will be great at this. And I will miss him in Indianapolis, and I will see him every time I get a chance. I wish these two the best, and Lindsay is perfect for him and brings out the best in him. Thank you, guys.
Hi, my name is Paige, and I am Lindsay's second cousin. However, our bond is much closer than that. We were born less than 2 months apart, so it is fair to say we grew up together. We have shared so many memories over the years, from hosting our Paige and Lindsay makeup show in my Grandma Joyce's bathroom. Sorry, I had to write mine down. To making a list of the qualities we wanted in our future husbands in my parents' basement, and our many, many shopping trips. Any milestone in our lives have been done around the same time. High school graduation, college graduation, engagements, and more. And I am so happy to have the honor of standing up with you today for this one, your wedding day. Lindsay, you are one of the most passionate and driven people I have ever met. You have put your all into sports, organizations, jobs, and modeling. I know you will do the same as a wife and future mother. I have only had the pleasure of being around you, Patrick, a few times, but I have gathered that you are a humble, caring, and driven man. Together, you make the perfect pair, and I wish you the best in your future as a married couple. Remember the beginning, cherish the middle, and love until the end. Congrats. Love you both.
Alrighty, I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you to everybody who came out. I know it's a holiday weekend and you gave that up. I think that says a lot, and we appreciate you being here celebrating this day with us. So it's a big deal, and thank you. My wife and I met the Latteroos actually yesterday for the first time, and it was really exceptional. Just gracious, kind people. Made total sense once I met him, having already known Lindsay. And we're very appreciative of you extending that warmth to Patrick well beyond today, making him feel so welcome. So thank you very much for today and being the gracious host that you've been. We certainly appreciate it. It made total sense when we met Lindsay after having met her parents. Obviously beautiful, but incredibly witty and smart, tough as nails. And a perfect match, I think, for Patrick, for sure. She also has an awful lot of common sense, and that's important. I'll touch on that later, why that's important. But my wife and I are blessed to have you and call you a daughter-in-law. We love you, and thank you for coming in our lives and loving our son. Now, tall, good-looking, successful. Enough about me. Patrick. This is the time when fathers ad nauseum go into how their sons are great and they never made a mistake and everything was great and they were wonderful when they were young and yada yada. And you've heard it all before and it's boring and I'm not gonna say it. What I will say though is something that you may not expect, because it's what I truly believe.
my son, Patrick McGuire, is a better man than I am. You're more patient, you're more kind, you're more sympathetic, you're just a better man. And I'm not quite sure as a dad that I've actually deserved that. But every once in a while, the stars will shine on the undeserving, and they certainly did so for me when you were born as my son so many years ago. So my wife and I are truly blessed to have him. He's that good, a good man. And I think that's the best compliment. Not successful, not this, being a good man. And we're blessed to have you as our son. Those were the accolades. Here's why her being patient is so important. Ryan can attest to this. A little bit of story. I'm driving them home from high school, and Patrick just leans over into the console and pushes the cigarette lighter button. It pops up, as it's prone to do when you push it, and he looks at it, and it's glowing hot red, as it should, and he promptly goes, yells out. Ryan's laughing like crazy in the back seat. The whole car smells like burned flesh. And I look at him and I think, what are you thinking? What? I mean, so, you know, he really needs Lindsay really bad. Real bad. But he does aim high. I give him that, because about 9th or 10th grade, give or take, I asked him, I said, well, you're going into high school and you're going to start having to think about what you're going to do for the future. I mean, you're still young, but, you know. And he said, I know what I want to do. I said, oh, great. Yeah, what do you want to do? I want to be a pro baseball player. He said, I think that'd be fun. And I said, yeah, that would be a good thing. That would be fun. And stealing from Seinfeld, I said, but they tend to give those jobs to people with exceptional athletic ability. And I said, so you may want a backup plan just in case that doesn't work. Like a plan B if the pro baseball doesn't work out. Well, fast forward, he's done with high school. He went to UCF. He gets his admission letter. And I say, hey, great, you're going to college, and have you thought about what you're going to major in? And he said, yeah. He said, I think, and I kid you not, he said it just like this, not making this up. He's 18, going into college, and he says, well, I don't want to be a lawyer. His sister's a lawyer. He said, and I don't want to be a businessman. I said, okay, yeah. He said, so I guess I'll be a doctor. He says, that'd be fun. And I said, yeah, that could be fun. But you may want a plan B on that one too, just in case that doesn't work out. So fast forward a couple of quarters and semesters and what have you, and we start getting these letters from UCF. Well, the first letter I got, I remember quite well, embossed letter, UCF and all that. And it says, Office of the Dean for the parents of Patrick McGuire. And I go, oh, crap. And I opened it up, and it says, congratulations, your son has made the dean's list. I said, wow, that's awesome. And then just about every quarter after that semester, what have you, we get this letter from UCF, and it says, he's made the president's list. He's made the dean's list. And this went on past his freshman year into his sophomore year. And I'm thinking, wow. And then it hit me. I said, Patrick McGuire is a kind of a common name. Could it be? And a couple of times I picked up the phone to call the registrar's office at UCF to say, listen, we keep getting these things, and are you really, And my wife said, no, just let us enjoy it. Just before we do anything. But I'm kidding, of course. It was all real. And he applied himself and did fantastic. Incredible. But here we are today, and now I have a doctor as a son, which is amazing. So for you guys, Lindsay, Patrick, I love you both. Your mother and I are so thrilled to death. And I can't wait to see how you guys grow up and become the people that I know you're going to be. So if you're going to raise a glass, if you will, a quick toast, if I may, to Patrick and Lindsay in your future. God bless you guys. We love you. Bye-bye.
Good evening, everybody. I am Sparrow. I am, for lack of a better word, the brother of the bride. If you know anything about Lindsay, you know our unique relationship. I'll share with you, if you don't, where it all began. We both were cast as model mentors in a televised modeling workshop. It sounds really, really cool, but it didn't get picked up, so it never really went anywhere, which is fine because I met my best friend. And what happened was we were showing kids how to model. It was pretty fun. I was going through the day. I hear some click-clacking heels behind me, and all of a sudden, catch me! Just like that. Luckily, I turned around, realizing she was talking to me. She had jumped into my arms, and I caught her. Then a mother looked at us and said, are you guys brother and sister or something? We just kind of looked back and forth, and we're like, well, yeah, obviously. We'd never met before in our lives. So from there, we kind of snowballed into that. She would come up almost every weekend. She'd stay with me and my dad. She became part of our family. We'd stay up really late. That's the thing we're most famous for. We'd stay up late talking, giggling about life, about love, about breakups, about everything that happened. Around that time, Lindsay lamented that she'd never find a husband ever. So clearly, great outlook there. But she said that I was the only boy that would never break her heart. So I always wore that title on my sleeve. Like, she's my best friend. I protect her. I love her. I cherish her. So that's something that I always really respected out of her, and I thank you for that title there, but more on that later. The first time that I met Patrick, he came down for a visit to meet the brother. We decided to go to the St. Louis Arch. It's a pretty cool thing. If you've never seen it, I do recommend it. Go to the top of the elevator as we did, but on the way there, Lindsay isn't known for her navigation skills. If you've ever been in a car with her, you can confirm that. We took a right turn, and we ended up 20 miles in East St. Louis, which is not where anyone wants to be. And so Patrick kind of looks around, and he's like, where are we? And Lindsay and I look at each other, knowing what's happening, knowing he's not from here, knowing he probably doesn't know how dangerous this exact moment in time was. So we decide to explain it to him. And he goes, excuse my French, oh shit, what have I gotten into? And I told him, welcome to the family that day. Could only get better from here. And I believe it has, if you ask me. And Lindsay, you know that we agree on everything. We agree reality show contestants, our favorite fears, favorite foods are the exact same. But I do disagree with you on one thing today. I am not the only boy who will never break your heart. That man to your left, he will cherish you, he will love you, and he will respect you every single day of your life. And if he doesn't, I know where to find you. Just kidding. I know without a doubt that you guys will have a long, happy life together. You deserve each other, all the success, love, and happiness that you're going to find. I love and respect you both, and welcome to the family med school. I'd like to just raise our glasses, make a toast to Dr. and Mrs. Patrick McGuire. Good night, everyone.